Welcome back in our special coverage on G20, the key deliverables that have been achieved and what does it mean for India on the global platform. That coverage continues here on CNN News 18, getting you a special voice and somebody who has been leading the dialogue and discussion at the G20 Empower. Dr. Sangita Reddy, G20 Empower Committee, from the G20 Empower Committee, and also the joint Managing Director of Apollo Hospitals is joining us on the broadcast. Dr. Reddy, thank you so much for speaking with us. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. One of the key things, if you read that statement, joint statement that has been put out, the New Delhi Declaration, is the idea of inclusive growth and development. The Indian government, the Prime Minister himself has been talking about this idea repeatedly. The fact that India has been able to assert this idea as part of that declaration is a big moment for India's leadership. Your thoughts on that?
So clearly this is a watershed moment, a historic moment in the history of the world and of G20 itself. Having started primarily as a body or a group of nations which came together for better economic progress, India has really raised the level of the conversation with the categorization of the strategy of, one world and moving on to say it's one future and one earth. It brought inclusivity, sustainability, and the fact that everyone should be part of this and everyone's voice is important. So I congratulate Prime Minister Modi, the Sherpa, the MEA, all the ministers and everybody who led the different initiatives. I believe it's important that leaders from all over the world understood that it's time for a new world order. I want to especially call out the fact that many of the initiatives, including, I think, the historic inclusion of Africa, the focus on the Green Energy Pact, the building of infrastructure to connect nations, the very, very critical focus on women-led development.
Sure.
And all these are significant parts of the dialogue. The fact that it was added into the leadership declaration and the fact of a working group focusing on cross-cutting initiatives to enhance women's participation in the formal workforce. All these are very significant and augur very well for the development of the world. So I'm extremely excited. Healthcare being my subject, I must also say that healthcare played an important part of the leadership declaration, and all the points which were deliberated of equitable healthcare, healthcare within the reach of everyone, cooperation on research, vaccines and drugs, and during the health summit, there was the historic launch by the Minister of the health portal for medical value travel or people being able to access care in India because India is delivering world-class global outcomes at 1/10 of global prices.
Absolutely.
So all these are very significant, and I think overall it's been a fantastic year of India's presidency, and I'm excited for the results, the success, as well as the potential of the future impact.
Absolutely. The world vouches for that fact that it has been a fantastic presidency. You spoke about some critical areas, especially the healthcare, the access of healthcare to all. India has emerged as the voice for the global south and the inclusion of the African countries. It's G21 now. Now, moving forward, if you look at that statement that has come out, there is also an elaborate discussion about the role of MSMEs. Gone are the days when the private industry or the private sector was frowned upon. In fact, now it's being looked at with renewed hope and enthusiasm. From that point of view, what kind of role can India play when it comes to growth, innovation, especially the MSME sector?
So I think the potential is vast. If you take it down, there's a range of things, Anusha, that you have focused on. So if you look at medical value travel itself, or Indian services, being people coming to India for services, currently the size of the market is estimated to be anything from 56 billion to 140 billion. And I think India can easily, it's currently, at a position around 17 or 18 in the world. I think we can move up to number 4 or 5 quite easily. And this should happen in the next 2 to 3 years with all the focus that's been put in place. In terms of the pharma market and the size, I do not really, want to take a number, but I would definitely say that the current growth rates of about 17 to 20% may even accelerate. So this potential is also extremely vast. I want to add a third dimension to this, and that is the ability for many corporations. And you saw this. I mean, NVIDIA, which is the icon of innovation, is now talking about putting a center in India. So, because they have seen the success of whether it's Microsoft or Google or Amazon, it's capturing the Indian market and it's using the Indian intellectual capacity and engineering prowess to become a backend for the work they do all over the world. So this is going to become a model. It's already an accepted model, but it's a model that's going to grow tremendously.
Absolutely. My last question to you in terms of how India has successfully used its soft power, quote unquote. It's no more just the soft power, it's also the persuasive power that has been able to bring together all the countries to a common platform, get a statement together. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is one family that India has been successfully able to assert on the global platform. This message of inclusion and India's soft power in the times to come, how critical it would be in your understanding in terms of fostering better deals, better pacts, agreements, say in the healthcare sector as well?
So clearly, I think you answered the entire positioning in your question itself. There is a great future for India. And I'm extremely happy that I think the future is not one which is dominated merely on the purchasing power parity or the size of the economy. Yes, we've become number 5 in terms of our GDP, we're moving to number 3. But those are not the factors which are getting highlighted. The factors getting highlighted are a new thought leadership. And that is true leadership and true power. It is the leadership of saying, let everyone in the world count. Let us start working today for the environment. A leadership declaration which said that we must together achieve our SDG goals. So I think it's critical things like this which is showing a new world order, a new methodology. And India clearly is saying this not just as a slogan, but a reflection of our cultural ethos. Like you mentioned, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. This is our cultural ethos. Carrying this cultural ethos with a voice and a confidence and a strategy to back it. So I think one of the busiest pavilions, busiest areas in the Bharat Pavilion was the showcasing of the digital public goods, the RBI platform, the UPI. So what we're saying is that we have solutions. Come share them, come copy them, come buy from us if it's the vaccine. So these solutions come, access healthcare for your people by sending them for cost-effective care. These are the type of things which are solutions for leaders who come from across the world, need to take back to their countries because they must create impact for their people. So we gave them solutions, we gave them thought leadership, and we gave them friendship and a hope for the future.
Absolutely. It's the persuasive power of India that has been shining very brightly at the G20. Thank you, Dr. Reddy. It's always a pleasure to have you on the broadcast. Thank you for joining us for this very special conversation. And all those special conversations, what has been achieved, the key deliverables from the G20 summit held here in the national capital continues to remain our top focus.